I don't play Assassin's Creed. You couldn't get me to touch the franchise unless I was dangling off the side of a building with a candle burning the rope. Okay, wait, hang on. To be honest, maybe I would be open to negotiations, but I do like the concept of Assassin's Creed. And I have played before, technically, twice in high school with Assassin's Creed 2 at a sleepover, and I bought Unity on Steam, but never finished it because of how awful using Ubisoft Launcher with Steam was, and I haven't played any Ubisoft games since, and all the recent ones look awful, so I don't plan on trying that anytime soon either. But recently, all of my issues with the launcher and with the games completely disappeared. You see, the Meta Horizon store for Meta's VR headsets like the Quest 3 that I have had a pretty big sale over the Christmas period, and part of my near wallet emptying shopping spree for VR titles was a game I'd been silently ignoring since I got my Quest 3 headset. Assassin's Creed Nexus is everything Assassin's Creed looks like it should feel while you play it, from an outside perspective. In my personal, completely biased newbie opinion. From the outside, flat-screen Assassin's Creed looks amazing. Using hidden blades, stealthily blending in with the crowds, and jumping over rooftops of old buildings with indestructible roof tiles. Like, seriously, how did these things stay intact? The franchise always looks like a ton of fun to play, but I just can't seem to stick with any of the games. Until now. Because, for some reason, Nexus is the embodiment of what I envisioned Assassin's Creed to be as a kid. It clicks, it makes me feel cool, it lets me physically stab at thin air in an immersive way. If you've tried VR games with pointy things, you know what I mean.
Ooh. I am so sorry.
Now, what I can't tell you is if Nexus is true to the Assassin's Creed franchise or not, because I haven't played through any of the previous entries to the series. This video is my own experience playing a fully VR Assassin's Creed title as someone essentially new to the franchise. I'm gonna jump into the most surprising part for me first. I do parkour IRL. I consistently trained for about 7 years and then coached it for about 2 years, I think. It might have overlapped the two of those a little bit. So I would hope that I know what good parkour should feel like in VR, at least, you know, after all this time. And my very scientific consensus that I came to after about 2 seconds of playing this game is that parkour is actually incredibly well done. My only regret is that we can't use our legs in VR properly yet, but you take what you can get and at least all the basic moves are there. Some actual parkour moves that you can do are strides across beams, lashes on poles, not specifically parkour, but you can also climb up the side of buildings brick by brick. I don't have that skill IRL yet. And launch yourself upwards. I don't actually know what that is called. It's kind of like climb up, except that, you know, your feet land instead of climbing up. It's weird. That last one took me so long to get the rhythm right that I almost stopped bothering with it. There's also wall running, but I never remembered to use it. Mostly because the angle you approach the wall at in-game is way too shallow compared to real life. So I guess my brain just doesn't register that it's even an option. Alright, the parkour in this as a 7 out of 10 for a video game, maybe an 8 out of 10 for a VR title, based off of my very scientific gut feeling. Combat. It is very different from what I have tried before in VR. My experience with swordplay so far in virtual reality is limited to Blade and Sorcery and the Battle Talent demo, which are both super physics-based hand-to-hand combat games, which means you can grab your opponent, punch them, parry them at any point, grab their weapon, steal it from them, clubber them with the hilt. All of those things that you wouldn't actually try with someone in real life. That's how those games work. In Nexus though, all the enemies have specific pre-made attack animations that you have to just wait for before parrying, which keeps the feel of a flat-screen Assassin's Creed game, I think. And once I got used to it, it was kind of fun. Not great, but not good enough for me to pick it over stealth. Stealth. That's what Assassin's Creed games are all about. Shocking, I know. So, how does it feel? Amazing. It feels amazing. The hidden blades are done to perfection. and the throwing knives make me feel so much less pathetic after hours of Blade and Sorcery's near perfect weapon physics.
I'm getting the hang of this stuff.
They also make surprisingly good fidget toys while you wait for the guards to move around, because sometimes they honestly just take forever. The bows definitely have some kind of auto aim, and I know this because I am not good at VR archery by any stretch of the imagination, and there's no way that I would have hit these if I was playing Blade and Sorcery. The main swords and the axe aren't exactly catered to stealth, but as long as you haven't been spotted by your unsuspecting victim, you can still one-shot them from behind. Oh, and it turns out you can throw the axe too. Fun. So yeah, as no surprise, stealth is my favorite part of the game. I have noticed that there is a pattern in the way that I go about actually doing stealth missions. Starting with marking out all of the targets in the immediate location and watching their movement to learn their patrol route, which is what the game taught me to do. After I find a good entrance and mark the alarm bells, if I can get close to them, I will just disable them by hand to make less noise. Otherwise, if I can't get close, I'll just use throwing knives or a bow. The next step is to slowly eliminate as many guards as possible without being seen.
I wish it didn't lag when I did that. It was such a cool execution.
I search for whatever item it is that I need to find by first lockpicking all of the wrong chests before the final one inevitably has the item I was actually looking for. It's so annoying when games do this. Just put it in a spot that would make the most sense so that the people who think, oh yes, this is where the captain would keep this thing that is very important, would actually check there. And yes, I do have other issues with this game. I genuinely enjoy it, but like most games, it's not perfect. Some things definitely could have been improved in my, again, biased opinion. I think all the guards should have been modeled with glasses.
Huh? What have we got here? Found anything interesting?
Because on multiple occasions, they have turned and stared directly at me without noticing. Then again, on multiple occasions, I have been spotted by them with stuff clearly being completely in the way. Like, there's no way they would have seen me. And I doubt that they heard me because they walk over to you if they hear you. They don't say, hey, I see something over there, you know? It's just like, eh. And speaking of hearing, they don't require any hearing aids. If you make the slightest noise, they just come running like there is no greater thing to life than knowing what that sound was.
Someone's been murdered!
Kind of like world's least stealthy bird watchers, if I'm being honest. Every cutscene I've gone through has been interactable, which is nice. I like that. But the game has to switch between a cutscene and regular gameplay, and it has to fade to black to do that each time. Whereas personally, I would have liked more of a Half-Life Alyx approach to it, where it's continuous. I know that the Quest 3 has certain hardware restrictions, but I doubt that they actually needed to add this in. I think it was just convenient. I'm not a game developer, so I probably don't know what I'm talking about. Every story-rich single-player VR game always seems to come back to Half-Life Alyx for me, though. The citizens walking about their daily lives are also, like, really skittish for some reason. Like, you do the slightest anything, and they go running. Do these things make me want to rage quit and uninstall the game? No. Do they distract me from the experience? Sometimes, but usually no. These are all just nitpicks I have, and I don't consider them to be a deal breaker for the experience I bought. Hashtag not sponsored, by the way. One of the things that does distract me though is the very bare interiors of this pub. I recently also purchased a third-party app from itch.io that lets you control graphical settings for games on Quest headsets. And I started trying it out during the first part of the game, and man, does it make a difference to the clarity. There were so many anti-aliasing issues with this thing, like lots of white lines on most edges of objects, so totally worth getting it. Also, hashtag not sponsored. Honestly, VR makes stealth feel so amazing. Blade and Sorcery was great, but Assassin's Creed Nexus definitely hit the nail on the head for me. I'm immensely enjoying this game, but I gotta finish it soon because Arkham Shadows has been teasing me for months now, and I'm itching for another VR stealth game, and I've been playing through the Arkham series for the first time recently. So yeah, kinda looking forward to a VR version of them. If you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this one here next. Alright, see ya!
And they'll be there.